Dear listeners of my channel, we are all living in very difficult times right now, and various situations can arise. I find myself in a situation where I urgently need funds. Therefore, I would be very grateful to anyone who supports and helps me with any amount that is acceptable to you. Details for assistance are provided in the description below the issue. In this issue, we will talk about how to develop and use intuition. In a nutshell, intuition is the ability, the human trait of understanding, forming, and penetrating the meaning of events, situations, and objects through insight, inspiration, a momentary unconscious conclusion based on imagination, empathy, and previous experience, intuition, and insight. So to begin with, let's imagine the following situation. You are going to an institution fully confident that it is open today. Before leaving the house, a timid thought flashes through your mind that it would be a good idea to call there just in case. It flashes and disappears without a trace. You only remember it when you arrive at the place and come up against a closed door. Or here's another situation. You've already planned a trip and then you get the feeling that maybe it would be better to cancel it. And then you start agonizing over whether to go or not. Conclusion: it would be good to persuade your intuition to work better, and also learn to recognize its voice and distinguish it from your own speculations, hopes, and fears. Intuition training. Number 1. One of the classic ways to train your intuition is to do an exercise with regular playing cards. To perform this technique, it is best to enter the alpha level. Place the deck of cards face down and remove one card at a time, trying to mentally see what color or suit the card will be. Attention! Your task is not to guess as many cards as possible, that's something else, but to capture the feeling that accompanies the correct guess. Once you have caught it, try to hold on to it, remember it. You can even put a mark, an anchor so to speak, on it. It is best to practice at least 4 times a week for 15 to 20 minutes, but the more often, the better. Intuition training. Number 2. This training will be based on practical exercises that you can use in your daily life. The fact is that we are used to acting in accordance with our desires and plans, and often forget that circumstances may not correspond to them, and also that we have intuition. So before you do anything, ask yourself what might happen in the future. Of course, you should not start with global problems such as, where can I find a job that pays me a lot and requires nothing in return, but with small things. For example, should I take an umbrella today, or will it not rain after all? If I go to a certain place, will I meet the person I need to see? Should I take the bus to work today, or will the tram be faster this time? Should I prepare for tomorrow's test, or will it be canceled? Will I find what I need in this store? It is usually advised to follow this rule. The first answer that comes to mind will be the correct one. At the same time, it is very important to believe that your subconscious will definitely give you the right answer. In addition, you need to free yourself from thoughts or emotions associated with the situation, especially if the problem you are asking about is pressing, which is why it is better to start training your intuition with small things. Otherwise, there is a high risk that the voice of intuition will be drowned out by your fears or expectations. The development of intuition, as well as your ability to pay attention to it, can be facilitated in the following ways. Exercise, setting the intention to develop intuition. Enter the alpha state and set yourself an intention such as the following. My intuition works better and better every day. When I need to make the right decision, my intuition always gives me the right advice. You can change the words of the affirmation as you like, but don't forget, it must be written in the present tense, not the future tense, without any will, shall, or soon will be able to. We have already discussed that the subconscious mind perceives only the present tense as a guide to action. Now let's move on to a topic that is so closely related to the previous one that it is sometimes very difficult to separate them. This is reading signs. The world around us constantly sends us signs, which many people successfully ignore. And the unity of man and the universe, by the way, is not just empty words. Man exists in the world like a cell within a multicellular organism. But how strong the connection with the surrounding reality is depends on the degree of attunement to it. Anything can serve as a sign. It's not about some generally accepted beliefs, but about your personal system of symbols. For some, a black cat crossing the road or seeing the number 13 somewhere is a good omen, while for others, the striking of a clock is a bad sign, proven by experience. You just need to listen more often to how your intuition responds to what catches your eye. Note that it is not so much what you see that is important, but how your subconscious reacts to it. For example, you may spill salt 10 times and remain calm, but on the 11th time, something inside you will stir and sound the alarm. If you are tuned in to receiving information and open to it, it will flow to you, sometimes manifesting itself in the most unexpected ways, while reading a book, watching TV, talking to friends and acquaintances. Any way you like. Sometimes the answers to questions come quickly, sometimes you have to wait a few days. Let's say you're starting to get a little fed up with your job. You agonize over whether to quit now or wait for the situation to change. You turn on the radio and they happen to be playing a song with the repeated refrain, "I'm staying." And when you hear it, it dawns on you, that's the solution to your problem. Or, for example, you have been wondering for a long time how to spend your next vacation or holidays in a meaningful way. You seem to have come up with a couple of options, but none of them really suit you. You watch TV, and there is a film about village life, and you remember that you haven't visited your relatives who live in the countryside for a long time. Just remember, it is very important not to go to extremes and not to try to frantically look for signs everywhere. Otherwise, you can take anything as a hint from the outside world. Well, friends, that's all for now. Try it, practice, and may the force be with you.